because we're all in CONCACAF, I want to ask this. We've had one African player win the Ballon d'Or. Even though there should have been two. Samuel Eto'o should have had at least had one, but I digress. Um, what comes closer next? A CONCACAF. Okay, I'll put this more fun. What is more likely to happen? Multiple CONCACAF players making the finalists list for the Ballon d'Or, or an African player winning the Ballon d'Or? Which comes first?
I'd say the CONCACAF and the finalists, because right now where we're at, you got Pulisic, you got Alfonso. If Jonathan
Mhm.
has a semi decent year, it's not that hard to find yourself on the finalist list. Let's like you got Scott McTominay who's made the finalists. As good as the years he had for Napoli as a Manchester United fan, he shouldn't be in the finalist list of the Ballon d'Or. This
Mhm.
is the best of the best. And we, like you just said, there's such a stronghold on Barcelona players. Lamine Yamal, you got Raphinha, Mo Salah. Salah's still there, but how many years does he has at the top with Liverpool? Realistically,
Mhm.
he's been flirting with money to go to Saudi Arabia for a time. It's a possibility he leaves the top flight and goes to Saudi. And Lamine Yamal, like you said already, why are we going to talk about who's going to win it next year? Because it'll probably be Lamine, or it could be Raphinha. Kylian Mbappe for me is probably going to win it next year with how good Real Madrid are looking. So I think it's going to be those three again in the conversation to win it. And with how good Pulisic has looked for AC Milan, if Alfonso Davies comes up and gets full fitness under this Vinny Company side, you could have multiple players from CONCACAF in the finalist list. It's realistically not that hard if both of them hit their true best form and play up to their best. Like you got like right there, like, for example, you got Fabian Ruiz, who had a good year with Napoli, but
Mhm.
is he a Ballon d'Or top player? No. You got Scott McTominay. Yes, I might be picking on Napoli players, but this is just not a great time for football when you look at these top 30. But there's some terrific players in there as well, and I just don't think Salah is going to beat out a Kylian Mbappe next year for how highly I think this Real Madrid team is. And outside of Mo Salah, you got Achraf Hakimi. And will this ever be a award that is won by a defender since Fabio Cannavaro? It hasn't been. And I don't think it will come to a defender award. We know how heavily this is an attacking, forward-minded goals, flashy, skillful award. And as much as I think Achraf Hakimi does deserve to be in that top three or could win it, I just don't expect them to ever give this award to a Nuno Mendes or a Achraf Hakimi. So I think it's an uphill battle right now for those players.
Mo, you go, because I have thought. I think my answer is simple, but I want to hear what you think about
I think
this.
it's gonna be an African player that will win it before that happens. And I think one of them it's from Dortmund, Sekou. I think he's
Yeah.
the way he's been performing for Dortmund. I think he got the short end of the stick, pretty much where he ended. He was what 21st.
21st, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
he should have been at least in the top 10 from the performance that he's been scoring goals at will. And but I think the way I'm starting to see it is that City's also so European heavy clubs. And if you start to watch a lot of the African players that are making strides now, I wouldn't be surprised if next year or the year after they get a lot closer to winning it because it's a World Cup year as well.
Mhm.
So you're literally one perfect World Cup away from going from 21st to the top five.
No, that's true. It is very
But
true. So here's the
but
thing that
still,
I
we're
think
biased too
you have to
because
keep in mind. Here's what I think you have to keep in mind. Africa has AFCON this year. And so that's gonna that's gonna be the showcase that says, hey, African players, guys, check us out. So I think that is gonna help African players. In the same breath, I think a solid World Cup on home soil for the US, Canada, or Mexico is really gonna turn up a lot of things.
Yep.
And all you need is a deep run by Canada, and then it's like, is it Jonathan David? Is it Alphonso Davies? Let me live in a perfect, beautiful world. Is it Ishmael Kone? Is it who is the player who gets like the love and likes that? But I asked it this way: I don't think an African player is going to win this anytime this year specifically. I don't think so. But I do think they have the opportunity to push themselves into the conversation because they'll have two recognized tournaments that they can really highlight them. So imagine if Morocco, for example, if Morocco wins it all, then they make, say, the quarterfinals of the World Cup. Give it Hakimi. Hakimi is should be top 2 at that point. No questions asked. But the question becomes, which will come first? I think you're always going to have, whether it's a Yamal, whether it's any of the top players there. So can you get enough CONCACAF players? They have one opportunity. Pulisic, I think, is your biggest name for that to happen. So it would have to be Pulisic and Davies because no one else is really pushing at that high level. Jonathan David would have to have an insane UCL and then follow that up with an insane World Cup. When it gets to Mexico, I mean, Edson Alvarez would have to. I mean, the thing with Mexico is they've done everything outside of that. They've won the Gold Cup. They've won Nations League. It's just, does making it to the quarterfinals for Mexico deem them as a success? Maybe. I don't know if they have enough names in high enough leagues that'll get outside of Liga Mexi that'll really resonate with the European bias voter. So I think it might come down to those big names for that. But I think African players this year have a bigger opportunity to really push forward and get their names higher into the list. Like Guerassi, the thing that sucks about him is that they're not going to make the World Cup. And I don't think they're in AFCON either. So he just has club and EUCL to really
Dortmund's not winning any competition
No.
realistically. So that's what weighs him down for me.
It is. So I think in a backhanded way, I think getting CONCACAF players into the top 30 is much more realistic this year than an African player winning it this year, because I just need to make the list. But
yeah, make the list,
yeah. But if I have to say, don't sleep on that Morocco side, if Hakimi, even if they make the finals for AFCON and then they walk into this World Cup next year, Hakimi is the name. And then now we're playing the game of, will a defender get love at the Ballon d'Or finally? I know he won't, but that means he's probably finishing second and Yamal is winning, and they won't even give him the trophy. They'll give him a yacht and just go and do what you must do, young kid.
But Yamal will actually have to carry Spain to the World Cup and play as he currently plays.
Mm-hmm.
I think one thing that he has not been tested, yes, he beat France on his way to the European Cup, but now we're talking World Cup.
Mm-hmm.
You're talking pride goes over. Now they all know who you are. They don't care that you're the 17, 18, or 19-year-old prodigy.
Mm-hmm.
Those tackles will hurt.
Oh, for sure.
So now the question will be, will he be prepared for a World Cup? Because a club, you're protected. European UCL, you're protected. But now it's the World Cup. Are you ready for that stage? Because if Spain kind of goes down a little bit, or he's not performing like he's supposed to, or Raphinha outplayed him in La Liga, even though everybody was talking about Lamine Yamal. Raphinha he moved to Barcelona and he took over, and all of his stats are pretty much higher than even some of Dembele's. It's just that they were riding on the 17-year-old kid. Now, as this 18-year-old, how is he going to manage the pressure of World Cup Spain? Because now he has to win it. Because if France wins it, and then Dembele is still running with all the trophies in France, and they make a good run in the Champions League, why shouldn't we give that to Dembele?